Quantum Break wants to be a cross between a TV show and an action-adventure game, avoiding the extremes set by David Cage or Telltale Games with their full narrative experiences. Right from the beginning, it will be clear that the plot and the development of the story are two of the main pillars of the game. We're talking about science fiction, with some cliché here and there, but the quality of the writing is definitely high and the pacing of the events is able to keep the player interested and entertained for the whole time. A cast of professional actors has been hired to offer some high-quality performances, with names such as Dominic Monaghan, Shawn Ashmore, and a great Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones. The plot is developed around a time fracture which threatens the entire world with a catastrophe that, of course, we will have to prevent with our brave Jack Joyce, who becomes able to control and bend time to a certain degree. Even though we will be the good guys in here, we have to praise the writers for the excellent job done with most of the characters, as even the ones that we will consider as enemies have their own ideas, ways of thinking that we can understand. There is always a good reason behind their actions. Quantum Break is not to be mistaken for a third-person shooter. This will be pretty obvious when we will face the lack of options in our characters' movements. We can shoot only if we're standing, we can't jump past obstacles in our way, and we can't pretend this is some kind of Gears of War. The game wants you to play aggressively and master the use of time-bending abilities, freezing enemies or bullets, dashing from place to place, and chaining your skills with creativity while adapting to your surroundings. Even though our abilities grant a good variety to the gameplay, we were not satisfied with the actual weapons we could use, as their power seemed to be based just on the size of their magazines, and the gunplay itself didn't provide the feedback we were expecting. Also, there are not really many weapons we can use, while our enemies will try to kill us with a pretty solid arsenal that we couldn't help but wonder why we could not use. Quantum Break is divided into acts, and the final level of every act will let us play as Paul Serene, the main bad guy of the story. Our actions as Paul will determine how the story will develop, which characters will have which role, who will live, who will die, whose background will be revealed. Even though this might sound amazing, Quantum Break has just one possible ending. We will basically decide how to get there, but the story will not change that much. Still, this is a clever and welcome addition that will definitely increase the replay value for whoever will like the plot or the characters. So, right after we play as Paul, we will have to watch one episode of the show. Now, the actors do a good job here, the plot keeps being entertaining, and we will most likely spend around 20 minutes following the development of the story. We enjoyed the contents and the little differences that will happen depending on our actions, but keep in mind that the idea here is not to mix gameplay and story, but to offer them in two well-separated moments. It worked for us, and it will work for you too if you are into sci-fi and TV shows. Otherwise, it's gonna be Metal Gear Solid 2 once again, if you know what I mean. When we move to analyze Quantum Break's performances on Xbox One, we have to admit that the hardware clearly shows its limits. Still, this game is most likely the best looking one on Xbox One, and the results achieved by Remedy are definitely amazing overall. Resolution, shadows, and frame rate have been sacrificed to reach the excellence thanks to a superb work in post-processing and lighting. Yes, the game is 720p, but it is a great 720p. In conclusion, we really enjoyed Quantum Break. It has a solid plot, a fresh and interesting gameplay, and welcomes players for a replay to find out more about its characters. At the moment, this is definitely the best mix between a traditional video game and the many narrative experiences that are kinda flooding the market lately. It is not a perfect game. Clichés here and there, average gunplay, lack of variety in weapons, and visuals that, even if impressive, clearly have to deal with the limits of the hardware. That being said, Quantum Break is an excellent game, and if you are into action adventures or you just like sci-fi, you do want to spend your money here.